Alrighty. Well, with that announcement, we'll go ahead and get started since we have all the participants on today. So, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the latest installment of the Chicago Transit Authority's Construction Talk series. We're very excited today to have the support of the Operating Engineers Local 150 on with us today, along with obviously our great partner Cisco. Just a little rundown and reminder for everybody, this is a webinar today. So in the event that you have any questions or that you have any comments that you'd like to make, please utilize the chat feature to provide those questions and provide that commentary. The way this will operate is we'll have a brief introduction from everybody on the call so you all know who's with us this morning. Then we'll follow it up with a little video segment that we produced internally of the training facility out in Wilmington for the Operating Engineers Local 150. And once that concludes, we'll have a we'll have a question and answer period for everybody to ask any questions that may not have been answered during the video segment and any other comments that folks may have. So thank you all again for joining us today. With that said, we'll go ahead and get started with introductions. Good morning, everybody. My name is Sam Hunt. I am the coordinator of workforce initiatives here at the Chicago Transit Authority in our diversity programs department. With that said, I'd like to introduce Brandy Phillips, my colleague on the diversity programs team.
Hi, I'm Brandy Phillips. I am the senior project manager for workforce initiatives here at CTA.
And we'll throw it to Local 150.
Hi, my name is Daphne Jackson, and I am the Diversity Recruitment Specialist for Local 150's training site.
My name is Nick Jorgensen. I work for the Local 150 Apprenticeship. I oversee many departments, but one of them being the community outreach portion of our apprenticeship. So I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, Cisco.
Hi, I'm Janetta Ryan, Director of Education to Careers until the end of May. Welcome, hope you enjoy it.
I am Jamila Muhammad, Director to Education to Careers. I'll be starting in June, taking over from Janetta.
And good afternoon, everybody. Dan Allen. I am with Cisco. We're a union labor management group. So we represent like 8,000 union contractors and all the skilled trades. And today we're really excited to feature the Operating Engineers Local 150's Training Center and about the opportunities for careers in there and all the amazing roads, bridges, high rises, and underground that they build. So we're really excited to showcase their premier training center today.
Well, thank you, everybody, for those warm introductions. We appreciate it. For those of you who are just joining the call today, just want to remind you all that this is a webinar. So if there are any questions that come up throughout the segment today, we ask that you please use the chat feature in Zoom to ask those questions, and we'll get them answered during the question and answer period later in the call. With that said, we'll actually go ahead with showing you the segment that we recorded with Operating Engineers Local 150 and Cisco out at their training facility last month in Wilmington, Illinois. So I will be the one that shows that. So give me 1 second here. Make sure you all can hear this. All right. Let me know if you all can hear this, please. Is that a yes or a no? Just want to make sure.
My name is George Antos. I'm an operating engineer. I've been an operating engineer for 32 years. I am the coordinator down here at our Local 150 apprenticeship program. I work with all the staff here at our training center, from our instructors to the admins, to work with them to build the classes, to make sure that all the training that our members get is the best that we can get for them so they can go out to work. We have actually 4 apprenticeship programs. So through our 4 apprenticeship programs, we have operating engineers that run heavy equipment. We have an HET, which is heavy equipment technician program. So that's the guys that go out and repair heavy equipment. We have a construction building inspectors program. So all the inspectors that you see out on the roads, a lot of them are operating engineers for the testing of asphalt. And then we have a geothermal and well drilling program. So what we look for, depending on the trade that they want to get into or the part of the apprenticeship program, is the work that pertains to that interests them the most. Because you're getting into a trade that you're going to spend the rest of your life doing, so we want you to be involved in it and do what you need to do that job. With the operators program itself, the heavy equipment operators, you're looking at about 1,000. The mechanics program, you're looking at about 125, and then the construction building inspectors, there's about 40 there, and the geothermal and the well drillers, there's about 30 to 40 apprentices there. All training for Local 150's jurisdiction is done in this building in Wilmington. This facility has been here since 2008, and this facility was purchased and built by the members of Local 150. All first-year apprentices are mandatory to be here for 80 hours, so they're here for 2 weeks. The first week, it's 100% inside the classroom, going over safety things, maintenance on equipment, and then the second week is out running equipment. Our apprentices all have mandatory classes that they have to come here for, so when they do come here, the apprenticeship site, the apprenticeship program will pay for a hotel for them to stay in. Local 150 actually covers into 3 states. So if you figure South Bend area in Indiana, you figure the northern half of Indiana, across the whole state of Illinois, into 7 counties into Iowa. We have over 23,000 members in Local 150, so we do have a big jurisdiction that we cover. And we only have 1 training center, and that is this one in Wilmington. I heard about Local 150 back 32 years ago. Well, actually, I have an uncle that was an operator who was in the trades and got me involved in this aspect. Local 150's apprenticeship program looks for people, one, that are hardworking. Our trade is construction, so we're looking for people that would like to work outside, because it's not very much inside work that we do around here. We look for people that have a lot of energy and people that are willing to learn new trades and new different tasks that go along with being an operator. Right now, all of our applications are currently closed. There hasn't been any talks of reopening the applications just yet. All the applications that we had from last year, all did get extended 1 year. To get an application for Local 150's apprenticeship program, you can come down here to the training site. It's a $25 money order. You have to be at least 18 years of age. You have to live in Local 150's jurisdiction. You have to have a high school graduation diploma or a GED. Usually what happens is they're scored, so the person that either schooling or the highest in experience, those people, when we start looking for apprentices, they will come out here first and then they're evaluated. If you're not a person that wants to be outside in the construction and mechanically inclined, that this might not be something that is for that person. This pandemic has had a huge impact on the way we do training. We averaged about 5,000 applications for the operators program for applications a year. Last year with the pandemic, we didn't even open applications. So we closed all applications because there wasn't a lot of members going out to work. We went from class sizes of having approximately 20 members in a classroom to the size of 10 in a room. Obviously, everybody's has to do the face covering. The sanitizing of equipment was huge for us, where we used to be able to have members get in and out of equipment. Now before a member can get out of a piece of equipment, it has to be sanitized and cleaned before somebody else could get in. So it's had a huge impact on the way that we do our training. We have not changed the way that we do our application process and the way we do our evaluations. The only thing that has changed is COVID has come in and hurt us. Prior to COVID, we took in over 300 apprentices, and then with COVID, it was a lot smaller number. As soon as this pandemic lets up and we can go back to normal business, we will. So this is the safest way that we can do training to our members and still stay open. We are construction workers, we are outside. We do a variety of different things being operating engineers, so you have to want to be part of it. The most pride that I take in is when a member comes down here and gets training and goes out into the field and can do the job and support their family.
Hi, my name is Nancy Ogene. I've been in the local for almost 3 years now. I'm an apprentice, and I'm originally from the south side of Chicago. I live in Indiana now, and I'm out of District 7.
My name is Josiah Lee. I'm out of District 7.
My name is Ramon Baena. I'm out of District 3.
My name is Christopher Pace.
Before joining Local 150, I did odd jobs throughout college. I did work at a union shop as a non-union shop helper. I kind of knew that that was the direction that I wanted to go in. So that was my foot in the door to get around it and meet people and just work towards my goal of becoming an operator.
I did labor too. I started doing labor work. Then I worked my way up. Started from the bottom.
I was actually a laborer for about 11 years before becoming an operator.
So I did a little bit of everything. I was a laborer, and then that didn't end up working out. So, you know, I really hit the bare minimum, working at pizza joints and gas stations, and then I started working my way back up.
It's been great. It's opened a lot of opportunities, a lot of doors for me. I get a lot more experience in fields that I've never been around, such as the dirt field. I don't have any experience around the dirt field, and that's currently what I'm working on right now, is sharpening my dirt machine skills.
My experience has been overwhelming. I really didn't understand how big this place was until I actually got here and went to the classes, and I'm just like, whew. It's a lot.
Dirt work, I've done sewer and water, I've done paving.
Learning different machinery. You know, it's not just about working. It's like being around, meeting new people, good instructors, good business agents, you know, the meetings, the talk that they have with us, breaking everything down. I learned a lot. Like the fundamental, you know, being like a competent person around other people, you know, it ain't just digging, you gotta know what you digging, the depth, measurements, lasers, all of that. You learn all, you know, it's different stuff. They teach you a lot here.
Well, I'm a big dirt guy, so like I really want to get a hold on like excavators and loaders and all the dirt equipment, but eventually if it comes down to it, progressing on and just learning as much as I can, that's why I'm here.
I was a laborer. I was working in sewer and water, so I'm trying to get back to my roots and get back to sewer and water.
So if I could concentrate in one area, I would like to stick with cranes. That's what I've been around my whole life, and that's what I enjoy running. However, it is my goal to be well-rounded so that I can kind of go in any direction. But if I get to stick in one area, I would like to stick with cranes.
Just being able to be part of a family as big as this, because I know a lot of places they'll just push you around, throw you around, sit you here and there, but when you come here, everybody's a team, everybody's working together, everybody's trying to do the best they can for not only themselves but each other. So just the family part of it all. I love it here.
Initially my father was an operator, and I always looked up to him. You know, I admired what he did, and it seemed pretty cool. I was actually working on my separate from my dad, and I was working for a company, and another operator actually told me that they were accepting applications, so I just took the opportunity, and thankfully they took me in.
Local 150 has always been a part of my life. I'm actually third generation, so I was born and raised around it, so there was never really a time that I didn't know of Local 150, so I was very fortunate to be part of the family my whole life.
Excavation, demo, run excavators, paver, asphalt.
Anytime, all the contractors that I've ever worked for have really been great. If you tell them that, hey, I need to get down to the training site, I need to work on something, and they'll work around you any which way. They all understand how it works, and in the end, you're making yourself more employable and a better employee for any of the contractors. So all the contractors are very flexible.
Last week, a normal day was sitting in a classroom, going over videos, safety precautions, and all that kind of stuff. And now today we're actually out in the machines, so that's going to be my normal day for the next week.
A normal week for me, I'm very fortunate. I've been working very steadily. So right now it's kind of actually harder for me to make time for training. So I took a week off of work to come down here to work on one of my dirt skills. So I've been pretty fortunate that for a day-to-day basis, I'm working more often than not right now. I think the most challenging part for me would be building my confidence, because I was always extra hard on myself and more of a perfectionist, and if I didn't get something relatively quickly, I would get flustered with myself instead of seeing the progress that I was making. So I had to learn to see that differently and recognize the progress that I have made.
Advice-wise, just don't come in thinking that it's going to be a breeze, because it definitely is a lot of work. It takes time, and it's gonna push you to your limits a little bit. But I mean, otherwise, this is an amazing place to be. So if you're trying to get in, fight for it, keep working towards it, and just do you. That's really all I can say.
Any advice that I have for anyone who's trying to get in is to just do it. I mean, go after your dreams, do what you want to do. There's nothing to hold you back. If you don't think that you can make it, you're wrong, because they have everything here to help you reach any goal that you have. As long as you have the drive and the dedication to wake up in the morning, put your boots on, and go to work or go to training, then they can help you with everything else.
You don't like it until you try it. Looking at it from different perspectives, it's going to seem like it may be hard or that you can't do it, but it's really not as bad as you make it out to be. It's just perspectives and how you look at everything. So if you want to give it a shot, go ahead and give it a shot, because it's not going to hurt you. If anything, it's going to make you a better person in the long run, because trying new things and trying different things, what else is there to it?
As far as there's not being a lot of girls in the field, until like this past year, most of the time I'm the only girl on the job site, and really the hardest part about that is finding yourself a clean porta potty to claim as your own. The guys have all been really great to me. I really have run into absolutely minimal problems with anyone. Everyone's really supportive, and as long as you show interest and you show drive, they don't mind helping you with things that you physically can't handle like a guy can, as long as you're out there being part of the team. I haven't really had any problems being a girl in the industry.
They ain't telling you, oh, you can't do this, next person. They work with you. They break it down. And if I see somebody not knowing what I know, I'll share what I know with them.
But it's a really cool organization to be a part of, because the limits, there are no limits, everything's limitless. You can do whatever you want, and they have everything here to help you.
There's actually a lot of people here that are actually trying to help, and they will help if you ask. Like, just the amount of help and support that there is here. You come here and nobody expects you to be a superstar the first day. They're here to work with you, they're here to teach you, and they do teach you very well.
What I'm most proud of myself for is for reaching my goals and overcoming any obstacles, and that's both in my career here as an apprentice so far at Local 150 and as well as outside of my career. Any goal that I've set, I used to think that I couldn't reach them, and within the past like 5 years of my life, I've just started knocking them down, and I realized that you can do whatever you want.
To be honest with you, it's that I followed my father's footsteps, but also it's me joining an organization like this that cares for one.
All righty. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for staying tuned for that. And thank you most importantly to Cisco and to Local 150, and especially our communications team here at the Chicago Transit Authority for putting that video together. It was a labor of love, but it was a very, very helpful video, I think, for everybody to stay tuned in. With that said, for those of you that may have joined us a little late, we're now going to embark on a question and answer period for our attendees here, our panelists here, to answer any questions that you all might have specific to Local 150 and their process for the apprenticeship program, applying, etc. So I'm just going to go in here now. Let's see, it looks like there was a request for captions. Yes. Tiffany asked specifically, if you've already submitted an application and it is now in the extension period because of COVID, is there a way to update the experience that you may have changed, or do you have to wait until the next application period to update your application? So I think it's a question about, do you have the opportunity, Nick and Daphne, to update your application once you've submitted it initially, if it's been a little bit of a lull period with the pandemic? Nick, I'm not sure if I'm not the only one, but
Everything that happened pre-COVID stays the same. So basically, we just hit the pause button on the application process, and it has been almost a year. So normally our applications last a year, but since the pandemic has happened, we just extended those out another year. So normally, if you submit an application and let's say you take a first aid class or a safety class or something like that, you can add that stuff to your application to improve your application score. You can still do that, still add those things to your application, even though you may have turned it in a year and a half ago pre-pandemic. So yes, you can still update your current application with new skills, classes, or experience.
Thank you for that, Nick. Greatly appreciate it. Another question we had was regarding applying and getting into the union based on application. There were a couple of the apprentices who were referencing that they had, they were second or third generation, and some of the attendees are interested in knowing, if you may not have that connection or that lineage, what can you do to help improve your application for the apprenticeship program?
Do you want me to take that one, Daphne, or you want to take that one?
No, it's fine. I can take it. Well, things that you can do would be attending pre-apprenticeship programs, because when we actually take applications, we score those, and we're looking for your schooling, whether it be the shop classes, the welding, the woodworking, things like that, in combination with work experience. We do understand high schoolers are not coming out with a ton of work experience. However, there's other things that you can do during your summertime that can gain some machine experience as well. So that's definitely what we're looking for. We need the combination of the schooling along with work experience. And those people that score close enough to our final score are the ones that are invited in for an evaluation.
Okay. Thank you for that, Daphne.
Yeah,
Nick,
so
do you
if
have anything
can
to
I
add?
expand on that, Sam?
Please do.
So if you're an 18-year-old kid who just comes out of high school, like Daphne said, you're not going to have much work experience at all. So we came together and we thought, well, how can we give these kids a chance to get into the program? You know, we can't just have ex-laborers or iron workers or electricians or whoever. You know, we want some younger people. So you can get points for your academic achievement is what we came up with. So if you're an A and B student in your high school or junior college or wherever you're going, we give more points for better grades in school. Okay. So that kind of helped level the playing field. It kind of evened you out with the people that have more work experience, but maybe didn't do so well in school. You doing well in school, but don't have the work experience. Now you're kind of on par with those people, and it gives you a better shot of getting into the apprenticeship program.
Awesome. And that's great to hear, because I know that's a big thing that we get a lot of questions about. It's like students coming out of high school, you know, I haven't really had the chance to get experience yet. How can I improve my prospects? So thank you all very much for answering that. Another question we had was regarding if I apply once and I'm accepted into the program, what does it look like after that? Do I need to keep reapplying? Do you have to wait in line for anything? What's the sort of follow-up process once that's done?
So the question is, I got accepted into the program or I got evaluated? Well, here's the process. So what we do is, if you score near the top of our list of applicants, what we do is we bring you in for an evaluation. It's usually a 20-hour evaluation. We put you on heavy equipment and we score your ability. Nothing other than your just raw ability on running heavy equipment. That's it. The people who score at the top of the evaluations will then be put on a list to be the first people to be called out to become what are called pre-apprentices. And you remain a pre-apprentice until our dispatch hall calls you out and sends you to a job to work as an apprentice operating engineer. So it's kind of dense, but you know, there's a lot of layers to it, but it's a scoring system. The people who score the highest rise to the top. Those people are then put on a list to become a pre-apprentice, and they stay a pre-apprentice until they go out to work. Now, in the past, especially 2008, 2009, we brought in probably 300 people, pre-apprentices, and then, you know, the economy went downhill. None of those pre-apprentices ever went out to work because we couldn't even put the people that are already apprentices or members of our union out to work, and we're not going to send new people out before we send out the people that are actually members currently. So it's not a guarantee that you're going to go out to work if you become a pre-apprentice, but we're doing a better job of assessing how many people we actually need, so we don't bring in, say, 300 people and we send 40 people out to work. It's not fair to the 260 others who thought they were in but truly aren't.
Thank you.
Is that kind of what you were at? I don't know if they can answer, but I don't know.
I think, yeah, that speaks a lot to the process. I think there are questions about the process. George wasn't able to elaborate very much about like what the process is after it's after the application submitted. So I think that clarification certainly helps.
Okay.
And to build on that, do you know typically what that timeline is after an application, say an applicant has been accepted? I know it can vary time to time, but do you have any timeline that usually is?
So our jurisdiction spans 3 states. So we do probably the northern third of Indiana, the northern half or third of Illinois, and then 7 counties in eastern Iowa. And that's jurisdiction. Those are broken up into 8 distinct districts. Okay. So northern Indiana or northeastern Indiana, northwestern Indiana are 2 districts. And then you got Chicagoland, and then the collar counties around Chicagoland. I think there's another 4 districts. And then out west on the Iowa border, and then Iowa itself are another 2 districts. Obviously, if you're thinking about where most of the work is going to be in that jurisdiction, it's going to be around Chicago. So most of the people that'll get in will probably become apprentices in what's called District 1, which is the Chicago land area. We strategically bring in apprentices for the outer lying districts based on need, because we don't want to have 50 apprentices sitting on the out of work list and those kids never go to work, and then bring in another 50 more, just make the list 100 people. So we kind of look and see how the work trends are going in these areas, and that's how, and then we'll bring in people strategically from those outerlying districts to fill needs.
Understood. Okay, that certainly helps. Yeah, a couple of the apprentices were referencing that they're from, District X, District Y. So that's specifically what that's speaking to. So that makes sense. Okay. Well, thank you for that, Nick. We also had a question about any specific literature that you all have, whether it's like a little summary guide about the apprenticeship program, just a website, something that we can refer people to. We do have a teacher on that wants to share some of their information, or this information rather, to their students. So is there a place that they can go and get that from, Daphne or Nick?
Definitely our website. We have the training site website is going to be ASIP, local150.org. And the other one is IUOE for International Union of Operating Engineers. So you can check both. And I'm going to go ahead and list my email because I can send you guys out some information or some flyers.
Thank you for that, Daphne. I was going to say, if you could possibly put that in the chat, that would be greatly appreciated. Let's see here, just going to go through the questions. Looks like everyone, yep, email me, thank you. Nick, I did actually have one specific question for you and your experience with Local 150. How did you first actually get involved with the operating engineers, and what has your experience been like since joining?
Well, my experience with Local 150 is pretty different than most other people's experience. I knew nothing about construction work. I was even living in a different state. So my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, knew somebody that was in Local 150. And he said, hey, if you come here to Illinois, I can possibly get you a job in the union. And I'm like, well, I don't have any experience. And he's like, well, you don't necessarily need experience, but you have work experience. You've done certain odds and ends jobs. I think you'd be a pretty good candidate for the apprenticeship program. So I'm like, okay, why not? So I became a first-year apprentice 18 years ago. I've done many different jobs, which is great. I wasn't really, I guess, pigeonholed into one sector of our work. I have run like bulldozers and excavators, pushing dirt, cutting dirt. I've ran pavers and grinders. So, cutting out asphalt roads and then repaving them with hot asphalt. I've ran cranes. So, I've run cranes on land. I've run the big tower cranes you guys see on the skyscrapers downtown. I've ran cranes on a barge. So, on the Chicago River, I was floating on a barge with a crane doing work. So it was pretty neat. So yeah, I've been really lucky to do a lot of different things while I've been an apprentice. And if you guys are interested in the program, I really suggest you guys try to do the same. Don't just get stuck, being a dirt person or a crane person. Try to diversify yourself, because if you get called to do a job and you have experience doing multiple things, it'd be much more employable. And that's one of the reasons why I think I have my job I have today, is because I was lucky enough to become an instructor and then now an administrator here because of my background, my diversity, and the things I've done.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I think a lot of folks that are interested in joining the trades, joining these specific unions, applying, getting that sort of anecdote, getting those experiences about the people, the apprentices, the folks that actually work administratively there too. I think that's very valuable for people to hear and know. I think the attendee that asked the earlier question about the process after you apply, just for confirmation, they're wondering if there is like the specific wait list once you do qualify. Is there something like that exists, or is it kind of back to the process you outlined earlier?
I guess technically, if you really wanted to break it down, there is a wait list, but the wait list is all dependent on the score of your application. Okay. If you score higher on your application, you go to the top of the list, more likely to be called in for an evaluation, more likely to become a pre-apprentice and on to becoming an apprentice operating engineer. If you score a little bit lower, you'd be in the middle of the lower part of the list. You'd be on the list for a while. Probably not a good chance to get into the union unless, well, right now, maybe go out, build some experience, become, a laborer. It doesn't even have to be union, just doing something mechanically, maybe taking a few classes at a junior college, like a welding class or a metal shop class or a drawing or CAD class. Those things like that, they add to your score. Even taking OSHA classes, OSHA 10 classes, OSHA 30 classes will help add points to your application score to hopefully next time you apply, you can move up on that list.
First aid, CPR.
First aid, CPR. Anything mechanical or you're doing with your hands, not so much the English literature and all that stuff. We're looking for drafting and architecture, things like that pertain to the construction field. That's what we're looking for.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Dan, or Nick and Daphne. Appreciate it. So we have a couple more questions that we'll get to here in a minute. I just want to allow a moment for Dan or Janetta. Is there anything that you'd like to add right now regarding the union, regarding this discussion we've had thus far? Anything that you'd like to chime in about at this time?
I see you, Dan. I got to say, operating engineers, local 150. You saw the video, but seeing the school in person, they have got the oh God, I'm going to get killed by the other trades, but they've got the best training center that I've ever seen. It's a great career, the operating engineers. Though one question I have for Nick, the tower cranes, where do you go to the bathroom at?
you don't want to know.
Going, oh, I gotta
you don't want to know. They don't have plumbing up there, so
buckets.
Your bucket when you get out the machine.
Yeah. Yes. It's not the most humanizing thing, or I guess it is the most humanizing. Or however you want to say that. Yeah, it's a little outhouse-ish.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people. You look at all these construction jobs. And people are always, oh, the money, I'm going to go make a lot of money. But there are some things in each trade that you got to put up with.
Yeah.
So you got to be prepared. You got to really want to do this kind of work. And the teacher from the Tech Center at DuPage, is Steve Schmidt gone?
Not sure if he.
Yeah, he might be gone.
Yeah, I think he might have dropped off. But at any rate, Dan or Jason Barth, there he is. Okay. As you were saying, Janelle, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's before I retire, I'm going to try running one of those cranes. And I'm full of crap on that. Okay, that's all I got to say. How about you, Dan?
Well, I'll just piggyback exactly. It is an amazing training center, and it's not a job; it's a career. And to the teachers and the educators out there, this is very skilled. This is a career for life. It provides unbelievable salaries. Full-time, construction workers can make $100,000. They're getting pension credits, and they have incredible health insurance for themselves. You can have a middle-class raise a family on these jobs. But as Nick and Daphne and Janetta and Jamala and everybody in the trades know, it takes commitment. And you heard it from those apprentices. They're up. You really got to want it. And unfortunately, just like Nick, he can't tell you when they're going to open. They do a really good job. We're hoping that the infrastructure bill that's out there, and as some of the older tradesmen and women retire, there will be some openings. My suggestion to the students is to apply for multiple trades, just like they talked about preparing themselves. If you really want a career in this industry, you got to be hungry and go after it. Stay off of drugs, study hard, stay your math. We talk about soft skills. That just means being willing and ready to work. The CTA has got an amazing project going on, and operating engineers have always been at the forefront of those projects. The elevated cranes, the red line modernization. It's going to provide a lot of careers. So it's an exciting time, and like anything, like applying to a college and all that, you don't get in right away. It takes a while. So stay at it, and really, I think those messages from those young apprentices should really hit home to the students, and you could hear the excitement and the overwhelmed at being part of a career for life, and they're just sucking in the training. And like Nick said, every one of the skilled trades has so many different aspects to it. Learn them all, go to the night schools they provide, keep doing your skills, and you will be successful and employable.
Thank you for that, Dan and Janetta. We really appreciate it. I think adding to that, yes, the Red Purple Modernization Project, it wouldn't happen without the support of Local 150 operating engineers. So they're very valuable, along with all of the trades that are involved on the project. Everybody in the trades helps keep Chicagoland, and the region and the state moving. So we sincerely appreciate that. We have two last questions, it looks like, in the Q&A box for now. The first one is about salary, just talking a little bit about the pay range for an apprentice. I know that's something that a lot of folks are interested in. Is that something that possibly Local 150 would be willing to discuss?
No, not at all.
No.
Lockbox.
Salaries are always subject to change. However, coming into the apprenticeship right now, you're paid according to your jurisdiction. Indiana, of course, is a right to work state, so is Iowa. They're going to make a little bit less than Northern Illinois. Coming into the doors for the apprenticeship here, you're looking at about, give or take, $25 an hour walking through the door. Journeymen are about, give or take, I mean, like I said, different rates, different jobs, about $45 an hour. Tower crane operators can earn up to $150 an hour. Anything over 8 hours is double time for them. That's why they carry their bucket with a smile.
That ain't that the truth. Nick, anything to add there?
Yeah, well, it's just a scale is how it's broken down. First year apprentice, you're making 50% of journeyman wage. And then as you go up to second, third, fourth year, you make more of a percentage of the journeyman wage. Yeah, it's 25 to 28, depending on where you're at. And you'll graduate making mid to low 40s. And then the salary, once you become a journey worker, it depends on where you're working, what machine you're running. And I'd say the range is anywhere between, 39 to 75. But, obviously you can make a little bit more depending on what machine and where. And yeah, just, and there's different contracts. I mean, our guys up north, our officers, I say our guys up north, I call them, but they negotiate thousands of contracts every year, and there's a bunch of different ones. But I mean, yeah, right around the 25 to 28 an hour. I mean, you're looking at 50 to 60 grand walking through the door. I mean, there's a lot of people that have 4-year degrees, master's degrees, doctorates who are making 30, 40, 50 grand a year, so, and they don't have any benefits. So, I mean, you're talking full medical, dental, pension, annuity, retirement medical savings plan. I mean, it's just, there's like 7 a vacation fund. There's 7 or 8, contractually negotiated benefits that every one of us gets on the back end of the salary. So, but on the flip side of that is you got to earn that money too. I mean, if a contractor is paying that money, you better be giving them that much effort, because the only difference between a non-union and a union person in our eyes is the training that they receive and the professionalism. That's what we kind of say around here. If you're not giving them 8 hours work for 8 hours pay, they're not going to keep you around very much because you're expensive. You show up on a job site to run their equipment, you're very, very expensive.
Well, thank you for that, Nick. Appreciate that candid answer. Just that there was a follow-up on that question just about, does the CTA offer any sponsorship programs through that? So the CTA, I can answer specifically, does not through any of our labor positions with the trades, or not with the trades, excuse me, or any of the labor, any of the work that we do in-house for amalgamated transit union workers. We do not offer any of those sponsorship opportunities, unfortunately. But there was also a follow-up question about any health issues that would exclude you potentially from applying. Are there any that exist?
You need to pass a general physical. That's it. It's not like a DOT physical or anything crazy. You got to be in just decent health. But
Been asked if there's been age limits. No, if you can still drive and you can still see well enough to operate, then you can still make the apprenticeship.
I was on a job one time and they hired what's called an oiler, an assistant operator for a piece of equipment. The guy was driving a Cadillac. He got out. The guy was 94 years old, still working.
We have a guy that lost one of his legs and he still operates.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You love what you do, you'll never work a day of your life, right? And that's what being an operating engineer is, huh? Another thing that we do want to plug while we're on this subject, though, about apprenticeships, Cisco does have a very valuable guide for apprenticeship applications and the different trades and the requirements that they require to be admitted. So we are going to add into the chat cisco.org that does have that resource for people to use. Thank you very much, Gary, for plugging that. We appreciate it. So if anybody does have any questions specific to obviously Local 150's application requirements that were outlined in the video, but they want to get that on paper so they can refer back to it, Cisco has a wonderful website for that. So I'll just add that here to the chat here in a moment. With that said, we're asking if anyone else has any other questions they'd like to ask, please feel free to type them in the chat box. We are running just 12 minutes away from 1 o'clock. We do anticipate ending slightly before that. So please feel free to type those questions while you still have us here. And the last question I have is for both Nick and Daphne. It's about what you all do, recruiting these apprentices, getting these people into the trades and familiar with the operations that you do. What is something that you take the most pride in being a member of 150 and in the work that you do?
Well, I mean, for me, it's just the different jobs that I've been on. You kind of remember, like if you did like a road or a highway or a building or something like that, and you drive by it and you're like, hey, I built that. I laid the asphalt on this road. Literally what I'm driving on is what I put down 2 years ago. Or, you know, if I've been in a building that I helped build, you know, the structure or skeleton of it anyways, it's just kind of neat that, you know, people are living or working or shopping in a building that you helped build. Or gambling. I worked on the Horseshoe Casino in Hammond. That was where I was in the barge. So, I mean, people are gambling in an area where I helped build, you know, so it's, that type of thing is pretty cool. And then, you know, getting together with the guys at union meetings, even though we're not having them now because of the pandemic, it's just nice to see guys that you worked with for maybe a year or two on a job. And then you guys, you know, you work for a different contractor and they went work for another one. And then you kind of get together, maybe have a cocktail and just kind of, you know, see how everybody's doing, catch up. You know, it's nice. It's good camaraderie. It's a good group of people. And yeah, that type of stuff really really makes me proud. The stuff that I've built and the friends that I've made along the way.
What kind of, you know, makes me proud is taking me back to social work. I'm happy to get out and talk to people. I like people. And another thing is to find that person that couldn't get in and all of a sudden they're calling me saying, Daphne, thank you. Or, you know, you did what you could and, you know, now I'm in. And I mean, those are the people that'll never forget you. Whenever they're out to the training site, they always look me up and have me come down and, you know, so it's the gratitude, it's the satisfaction of saying you couldn't get in, but I helped you. But it's just overall helping. It's helping. That gives me so much satisfaction.
Well, thank you all for sharing that. We really appreciate it. You can certainly sense the love and pride that you all take in what you do and who you represent. So we appreciate that. I think the last question that we're going to field before we do wrap up is from Tiffany, asking about the list of equipment experience that somebody would have that would be beneficial for them on the application. Is there a list of that on the website? Where can someone find that?
I don't think there's really a list that exists. But what we are, we're operators. So any piece of equipment, you know, will gain you experience points on your application, whether it be a forklift, a reach truck, you know, a clip, you know, sit down, anything. A lot of you guys have family members that are landscapers and you're riding lawnmowers. That's a machine. Some of you guys have been in warehouses where you're working for Lowe's and you're on a cherry picker. It's a machine. So yes. There's not really, but just keep in mind that we're machine operators. We want to see machine experience.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's not like as long as you have that some experience, it doesn't matter if it's specific, as small as, you know, like you said, a lawnmower, or as big as a cherry picker, whatever it may be. Any experience operating something of that magnitude certainly helps. Nick, did you have anything you wanted to add there too?
No, I mean, everything is scored though. We really scrutinize these applications. We try to get these people as many points as we can. We always look for the positive, at least I do when I score them, is how can I get this person the most points available? You know, so yeah, anything that you've done, I mean, even if you worked 2 weeks as a laborer, you know, helping out your buddy's dad's company or something like that, you know, even if you sat on a skid steer, which is a little bobcat, for a week or two, all that stuff, just put it down, because, you know, it's not going to hurt you is basically what I'm saying. It can only help. And like I said, we're trying to find the positive in all these applications to give people the best chance of getting in, because, you know, obviously you're applying for Local 150 for a reason, and we like that you are applying for our apprenticeship program. We can't take you all, but we want to give all of you the benefit of the doubt.
I think that's a great stopping point for this segment today, since we are running close to 1 o'clock. Dan, Janetta, is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap things up here?
Just want to thank the CTA and 150 for putting this on. I think you can see by the chat, and this will now be a video available, that it really answers a lot of questions, and I can't agree more. The pride of the union construction. And as Daphne said, other states, it's right to work for less. They're untrained. And I came from a code enforcement official, and I was in deposition after deposition of serious injuries, fatalities, buildings ruined, property damaged by unskilled workers. A lot of them were thought that they were 150 operators. They rented portable cranes, put secondary cranes, and actually in the city of Chicago, we were instrumental in lowering the amount of load that could be by an unskilled worker. And guess what? The fatalities, the injuries, and the loss of property dropped. So like Nick and Daphne, and you saw the pride of those apprentices, training is what our skill is, and it means on time, safely, on budget, and careers for people. So we're really glad to showcase 150's training center. So thanks.
Yes, and this has been, gosh, I'm sorry, this is why I'm retiring. I can't remember words. We've been doing these infomercials with the trades for a while now, and it's just such a pleasure to see how the filming has been improved. I mean, this is actual, we could have put it in for the Academy Awards, but I hope this helps the students more. You could actually see the schools and talk to the people, the coordinators, the people that go out and talk to young people about the apprenticeships. We're not finished yet. We still have a few other trades to go, and I know Sam's looking forward to seeing me soon. But I hope everybody enjoys these. And if you have any thoughts of what you would like to see, send them on to Sam or myself or Dan. We won't tell you what our email is, but you'll have to find out.
Well, thank you very much for that, Dan and Jeanette. We appreciate it. Before we close officially, I just have a few housekeeping notes for everybody. So like Dan alluded to, this video has been recorded, and because of that, and there is so much valuable information included in it, we are going to be uploading it to our YouTube page, the CTA Doors Opening page, once this concludes. We'll send an email to everybody once this wraps up and once we have the video uploaded, so you all can reference it, so you all can share it. Feel free to do as you please with it, because we do want to make sure that we get the word out about this. This is all very valuable information for all the interested applicants, so we want to make sure that it's accessible to everybody. Secondly, I just want to give a special thank you to Nick, Daphne, Dan, and Janetta and all of their support in making this happen. An extreme thank you to Helmut and Mark Burnham and Catherine Osinski from the CTA Communications Department. They're the ones who were instrumental in the filming and in the editing of the video that you all witnessed today. So very, very sincere thank you to them. And thank you to you all, the attendees of this fine construction talks today with Local 150. We appreciate you taking the time to hear about this, just spread the word about the resources that are available, and hopefully ensuring that we see much more diverse faces in the trades in the future. So with that said, we're going to close up. And again, thank you all for your time. We look forward to seeing you all again in the future.